Okay, week 1 of the Kimura system. So first thing first is the different types of Kimuras. So we have 3 different types of Kimuras that we can go through. All right, the first one is our standard one, which is basically using our arms to finish the Kimuras. The second one comes from what we call Trimura, so from a triangle position. And then our third one is using our legs to basically get the Kimura without our hands and just using our legs to get the braking mechanisms. So first one is just with our hands. So if we look at, say, side control, right, we'll get the Kimura and we're able to use a pulling system. I step over the head and I'm just using my upper body to get the brake of the hands. Same thing if I'm, say, on my back, and I'm able then to get the Kimura from here, right? And I'm able to now use my hands to get the brake with just my upper body. The third one will be in a triangle position. So I have the triangle position, but instead of me doing a standard triangle, all right, towards the shoulder, I use a wrong side triangle towards his head, and that just gets the lockdown position. From here now, I can use my legs and my upper body to start using the Kimura for the braking mechanism. So this is what we call Trimura, and the Trimura uses the triangle as upper body control and then uses our upper body for the actual submission. Our third one, we can be in a tripod position in terms of on your back, okay, our normal tripod. All right. Instead of using my upper body, I'm now going to use my legs and now get a brake from our legs using our legs as our connection instead of our hands. So those are the 3 types of Kimuras that you can look at and that we're going to be implementing into the program. So you guys can see from top positions and bottom positions how we use these 3 types of entries onto the arm and implement the Kimura. Right, 2 functions of the Kimura. The first one is pretty obvious. We use the Kimura for a submission and to break the arm. All right. So everyone knows it is a submission and we use it for that submission. The second function of the Kimura is kind of a control or for me to create movement around the individual. So for instance, if I'm in this position where now I have Kimura in front of him and not behind his back, I can now, instead of moving him, I can use the Kimura and start moving myself around the individual to start improving my position. So again, an easy way of seeing this, right? I have the Kimura, I can't put the Kimura behind his back. So now I use the second function of the Kimura of movement and control, and now I'm moving my body around him, and I'm able now to get a better position by using this Kimura. The control one from a tripod position, all right, I can use this, putting my head on his hip into this position, asking my partner now to move around, and I'm using this as a pinning position, as a control position as well. So 2 functions, always to remember how we use these Kimuras, obviously for submission purposes and for a control and movement purposes. Right, the understanding of pulling the Kimura or pushing the Kimura. So pulling vs pushing. A lot of Kimuras nowadays are implemented with a pushing mechanism instead of a pulling mechanism. So a good example is from close guard. Whenever I can get the hand behind the back, obviously that's the key, right? And what guys are doing now is they're trying to push this hand towards the head, right? And it's a standard basic submission and that teaches everyone to push the hand. But what we want to do is we want to eliminate the wrist, this movement, right? And I want to take my left elbow, and instead of pushing the hand towards the head, I want to take my elbow and I want to pull my elbow as high as I can. So I'm flaring my elbow, which then takes the slack out of the shoulder, right? And then what I want to do is take my elbow and I want to pull the elbow towards his head, which then puts the submission on. So same concept now, say if I'm on top and we're in the side control position, I pin this hand to the ground and I've got the Kimura, right? I've got a good bend in the arm, all right? And instead of me trying to take the hand and push it, right? All right, taking this hand towards his head, all I'm doing from here is I'm stepping over the head, and now I flare my elbow and I pull the elbow as much as I can using my elbow, and that's what's going to put the submission on. So it's a quick, easy understanding of putting the Kimuras on using more of a pulling motion than a pushing motion. So pulling the elbow towards you instead of pushing the individual's hand towards his head, and you're going to get a better break with the Kimura.